Hi class, my name is Jeremy Demiza and this is my video on language and dialect. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, so the Midwest. Um, some say that we kind of had an accent when we say our A's. Our A's can be a little different than how a normal A would sound. Um, but other than that, I didn't grow up in the southern part of Ohio where you have more country and farms, maybe a little bit more of a southern accent. Um, Some of the some of the slang words people say would be like pop instead of like soda or Coke. We call it pop up here. Um, the baseball stadium, we call it the Jake. Um, and the word ope. So like if you bump into somebody or you drop something, you say ope instead of like, oh, I'm sorry, or excuse me, or something like that. It's spelled O-P-E. I don't know where it came from. Just people just started saying it one day, and I guess that's how those things work. I also live in Florida now, so um, Florida is kind of the same thing where if you live in the city, everybody still talks the same as I do, like you're normal, not like a thick accent in any way. But then if you travel 100, 200 miles out, pretty much in any direction, you have like Alabama, Georgia, and New Orleans, Louisiana, you get like a different accent, and especially in the country you get that like thicker country accent, which I was surprised to hear people from Florida speaking in a more of a country accent, and I expected more of like the city thing. And then you have Louisiana, which is definitely a little different. New Orleans, they have that I don't know what kind of accent it is, but sometimes it's kind of hard to understand, and it's pretty crazy to me that 150, 100 miles away from where I live, is almost like people are speaking a completely different language, and it's pretty hard to understand. Sometimes you try and talk to somebody with that accent, it's just sometimes you just can't get a grip of what they're saying. Some slang from Florida that I've learned is JIT, J-I-T. It's like usually like somebody that's younger than you, or a kid, somebody that's like below you, call them that. Sometimes it could be a good thing, sometimes it could be a bad thing. What changed over the course of my existence would just be me moving from Ohio to Florida, and the difference between their little subtle cues that they do and how Florida operates. But it's obviously we all speak English, so it's relatively the same. Just like little small things, like somebody saying "ope" or somebody saying "excuse me" instead of that, or I'm in at a restaurant and I ask for a pop, and they're like, well, "What's a pop? We don't have that. I don't know what that is." So then you have to be able to adjust and be like, okay, you have to know where you're at, and you have to be like, okay, can I have a soda, or can I have a Coke, or something like that. What culture factors might explain these changes? I think also a big thing, we really don't notice a large difference between each like state or location in the US as much as maybe it used to be in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, because of the internet and how much we interact with other people inside the United States now, to where like languages are so equal throughout. Like you hear people from California all the time just on the internet, hearing their voices, learning their slang and stuff like that. So I think everything is pretty universal at this point, which I think is cool. We're getting to experience a whole country's worth of slang, or whole world's really worth of slang, just from, even if you grew up in one town, you'd still be able to experience other people's slang, other people's like accents and things like that. Thank you.